Good evening to all of you out there listening to the sound of my voice on this cold and rainy night. It's your host, Stevie Red, and I've got some great songs coming up as I get ready to close out my shift. Songs to help warm you up, no matter if you are traveling on this wet night or home snuggled up with the love of your life. If you are snuggled up to your one and only, send a few good vibes to us outside our homes on a night like this. I love my job, but I wouldn't mind being home with my man who is already probably asleep on the couch. Bowie, if you're listening to Mama's voice, I will be home to squeeze you tight and let you lick me all over once my shift is done. I like my men big and dumb, and I picked a winner when I picked you out at the Gloaming Falls Animal Shelter on Whisperwood Lane. All 120 pounds of you. All right, Gloaming Falls family. Here's the track Bad Mojo by our very own local band, Farpoint. That was Bad Mojo by Farpoint. They should be performing live sometime soon, and well, as soon as I find out, I'll let you know. Well, if anyone is curious, the weatherman is predicting another rainy and windy night. Like we couldn't have told him that. It is a normal January night in Gloaming Falls. But you know, as I'm looking out the window here at the radio station, I see that the wind is blowing the rain into the glass at just the right angle. The whole world looks like it's melting. You know, the hard rain on the glass kind of gives you a false sense of privacy, a very delicate sense of security. Just what part of you is it that gets unnerved when you are looking at the melting shapes outside on a rainy night? And those melting shapes then start to move because now something, maybe a person, has walked in front of the window. A stranger has now taken any sense of privacy or safety away. The window, which is supposed to be your look into the dangers outside and help you see what is coming, is now just as guilty as the rain of making you nervous. The rain keeps you from knowing who this person or this moving object is. And until you get some clue to their identity, you have to battle the unknown. Guys, it's dark, cold, and pouring down rain. Keep yourselves dry and safe. Remember, this is Gloaming Falls. Nothing ever happens here until it does.
Takes an old woman time to get places. Hello? What did you say your name is? You want to use my phone? Well, how did you know I would be here? Oh, for heaven's sakes. I'm always forgetting to turn that sign around. Come on in, honey. The shop is closed, but you look soaked. It's so cold, goodness. Close that door and you stay right there. Don't move. I've got something for you. Just give me a minute. I've just got to walk back here. I thought I had some clean towels. It'll just be a minute. Hold on. Here you go. Oh, child. It's cold and you're shaking. Dry yourself off good. Now how about you just come with me through in the back and let's get you close to a fire. I've got my cellular phone back there and you can use it, but don't you have a cell phone just like everybody else? Can't you use that to call somebody? Oh, I declare, I see. Look at that. You smashed it up good, didn't you, honey? Well, come on. I got coffee, and I got a fire, and most important, I've got my own little cellular phone. Now, don't look so surprised at the setup. You see, I actually live here. I just run a shop out the front of the house. I've lived in this house my entire life, but one day I just decided to start selling bits and pieces of my stories to the tourists out the front. Now sit down right there. See my phone on the table there? Go ahead and use it. You just press it and make it light up. Now, I'm going to fix you some coffee while you make your call. What did you say, honey? A tow truck? Well, there's only one in town I know of. Just go to that little internet screen and type in LeBay and Sons Garage. It's the only one, so it should come right up.
Getting close to shutting it down for tonight, and so I just want to give everyone a reminder that tomorrow there is a sale on all jewelry at Mama Night Owl's Curiosities and Oddities shop. Maybe you're looking to get an early start on Valentine's or just want to buy something special for yourself. Mama Night Owl says she'll be open all day. Up next, we have music from the Mythroids and Project Blue Book.
Oh, did you hear that on the radio? I've known Stevie Red, the radio gal, since she was a little girl. Everyone in town listens to this radio station, and all the tourists are told to listen to it so they know about town events. Stevie's been trying to get me to advertise on the radio for so long, but I keep telling her nobody ends up in my shop unless they need to be here. She never listens, though. So I told her if she can come up with a jingle I like, then I might advertise. I doubt she will, but it keeps her happy. She is a sweet girl, too big of a heart, but that's another story for another day. So is a tow truck coming? Are they going to get the car and then pick you up here? What? No. You can't walk back out in the rain. You call whichever LeBay picked up that phone and you tell them to pick you up here. You tell them to pick you up at Mama's. They know where that is. Everyone around here calls me Mama. Oh, well, I see. So, you really wrecked your car that good? Well, at least it was a tree and not another car and you didn't get hurt. Did you get him to tell you how long he would be? Oh, well then you got time to drink your coffee. Let me see if I can find you an umbrella. In a junk shop full of stories, I've got to have something. Grab your coffee and let's see what I have up front. Look beside you there and turn on the light and let me see. What'd you say, sweetie? Oh, I've run Mama's Night Owl Curiosity and Oddity shop for a long time. I know it's more of a junk shop than anything, but not a single thing in this shop doesn't have a story, and I'm a collector of stories. Like I said before, no one ends up in my shop that doesn't need to be here. Oh, aha! Looky here. One of my old umbrellas. I knew I had it behind this counter. Here you go, dearie. Now finish that coffee and look around the shop if you want. You probably have a little more time. I hate that you have to go back out in that cold rain. What brings you to Gloaming Falls anyway? I know you aren't a local. A job interview? Well, that's wonderful. I just hate that it had to all start with a car accident. Oh, let me guess where you have an interview. All right, let me see. Well, Prudence is always threatening to get a new night shift manager at the diner. No? Okay. Oh, goodness. Not the museum, I hope. That old place has so many evils attached to it. Oh, okay. Well, you don't look like the park ranger type. Those poor souls are always having to try to find some child getting lost out there in that unforgiving place. Okay. Well, you don't teach kindergarten. Really? I never would have guessed. A police officer. Well, you seem too nice a person for that hard a job. Really? 7 years already. Well, that hard-headed sheriff better hire you because I have a sense about people, and I know you're honest. I know you're a good person, and well, saying that, Listen, I want to give you some advice. Now, if you want to chalk this up to an old lady talking, well, that's just fine, you do that, but I always want you to keep this in the back of your mind while you're in Gloaming Falls. I want you to remember that nothing in this town is clear. What you think you see it's like a mist over a truth that is always being twisted by powers. This town is watched and judged by ground, sky, and things in between. Just remember that. You sure it's time to go? You sure you have to leave already? Well, take the umbrella, and if it looks like that wrecker is going to be late, you just come back here and they can pick you up from here if need be. Oh, you're welcome for the coffee, honey. No, never mind about that. Wait, how far did you say your car is again? That far? What street did you say you wrecked near again? What? Did you say Red Oak Road? Are you sure? You saw that road sign? No, you're right. No houses would be nearby. No real lights until you got to town and saw the shop. No, I'm okay, dear. You sure that sign said Red Oak Road? Well, I'm sure it's fine. It's just that... Are you sure you have to go back? That wrecker can't come here. Well, if you insist, I want you to do me a favor. If you insist on leaving, I want you to run back to your car and sit in it the best you can and don't open your car doors for anyone but that wrecker. I would rather you not go, but if you say you have to, will you at least do that for me? Run straight to that car, no stopping for anyone, and don't open the car door for anyone but that wrecker. Now the other thing you're going to do, you are going to take this little foot with you. No, it's not a rabbit foot, child. Look closer. That's a possum foot. No. Now you listen here, young man. I know this area because I have lived here long enough people just call me Mama because most of them have forgotten my name. Please listen to me. Maybe I am a crazy old lady, but if that is true, then just humor me. Take this possum foot and put it in your back pocket and carry it with you. Please do as I say. I told you I collect stories. So how about listen to this one, and then you decide what you want to do. Red Oak was the name of a family farm, and at the end of Red Oak Road was one house belonging to the Whitmore family. They were a nice family with 2 teenage children. The daughter was spirited, wild was really the word, and even when she was a tiny thing, I knew she was headed for trouble. When she was 16, she went missing, and everyone thought she had run off with a boy. I knew that sounded wrong because, like I said, nothing in this town is ever clear. Months after she went missing, a girl's dead body was found stuffed inside an old dying red oak tree on the farm. Right inside a hole in this old red oak tree, this teenage girl's body had just been waiting to be found. It was the missing Whitmore girl, of course, and it was the opinion of people smarter than me that this girl had been raped and strangled. Then her killer had shoved her in the hole of that tree thinking she was dead. She wasn't dead, though, and she was just passed out. That poor girl died in that tree, and it took her days to die. The parents were broken people after that because the tree she was found in was right on the farm, and her father drove a tractor past that tree every day. No one knew who did it, but this place has a way of straightening itself out. You see, people started swearing they could see the girl standing near that same tree. Soon, 2 men in town plus the girl's father burnt the entire tree down. Then people would say they could still see the girl, but now she was walking up and down Red Oak Road, and she was looking off into the woods like she was inspecting the trees. She acted like she was looking for something or maybe trying to find a certain spot in the woods for some reason. The parents couldn't take it anymore, and you can't blame them, so they started to try to move. Well, before the family moved, their 19-year-old son also went missing. Now, by this point, the mother's in the hospital with her nerves, and her husband is barely hanging on. Not much time passes before the son is found. His body was found partially crammed inside a tree. They say he died instantly from a broken neck, but this tree isn't like the one his sister was found in. She was found inside a large hole in a large tree, kind of wedged into a spot no one would ever think to look. This boy was shoved inside a hole a small child would have a problem getting in. He wasn't all the way shoved in. He was kind of twisted and broken so that 3/4 of his body was inside that damn tree. And that tree was just right off of Red Oak Road. He was found right there where everybody would say they could see that girl, looking off into the woods like she was examining the trees, looking at them really hard. The police did some testing as good as they could back then, but they also found some stuff that boy had wrote down. You see, they decided that the son was responsible for his sister's rape and murder. It was awful. The parents moved away, and not long after that, the house burnt down just like that old red oak tree. I wish I could say that was the end of people saying they could see that girl. But there is one thing there was an end to. Listen to me carefully, child. There is no Red Oak Road. No one wanted to live near that farm or that house or those woods. The road was closed and it grew over. People, usually strangers in town, will say they see her on that road, but there is no road there, no recognizable road, and there is certainly no street sign that says Red Oak Road. So you listen to me. A possum will eat dead things, so you take that possum foot and you put it in your back pocket. It will scare off anything dead. Being an officer in Gloaming Falls, you might need it past tonight. Now you decide. Are you going to run for that wrecker or have them pick you up here? All right, that's fine. I know I sound like a crazy lady, just...
It's a beautiful night out there, Gloaming Falls family. The sky is clear and the stars are bright and twinkling. If you take the time to look up at it, that is. The moon is full and reflecting the warm light of the sun onto us on this cold January night. You know, Edgar Allan Poe once looked up at the moon, and he wrote a poem where he said the moon has a cold smile. I have to wonder if the moon would think of itself as cold. It is, after all, reflecting the light of a huge glowing sphere of hot gas with a temperature of 10,000 degrees Fahrenheit. No, there may be many millions of kilometers between the sun and moon, but I think the moon thinks of itself as quite warm. But that's enough pondering over that. I want to give everyone a reminder that tomorrow is the 3 Dogs and One Night Music Festival benefiting the Gloaming Falls Animal Shelter. Also, Mama Night Owl's Oddities and Curiosities shop will be the location hosting the silent auction for the animal shelter the same day. Go by and see the things donated for the auction and maybe check out some of the other fun items in the shop. I know I always wish I had a spot for that original framed painting by the one and only serial killer John Wayne Gacy. I want to put it right over my mantle, but it just wouldn't match my minimalistic decor. I have no clue where she gets this stuff, but I am happy Mama Night Owl keeps Gloaming Falls weird. Stop by and see her at 1428 Blue Devil Avenue. Okay, Gloaming Falls, as promised, a new song by the local band Farpoint. Here's the track, Cold Star.
Okay, I'm coming. Hold on. Oh, well, look who it is. I wasn't expecting to see you back so soon. So you got back to your car safe and sound. Was the tow truck able to get your car out all right? Oh, good. I hope those repairs aren't too expensive. How long will it take for you to get your car fixed? 3 days. Well, my goodness. So if you have to stay in town for 3 days, does that mean you have to pay for a room for that whole time? Well, that is mighty kind of Sheriff Brody to do that. So when is your job interview for him anyways? Well, I hate you had to come here for a job interview and ended up in an accident and then got stuck. Hopefully your interview tomorrow will go well and this will all just be a memory. Do you have time to stay a while, sweetie? Oh, good. I was ready to take a break from all this setting up here anyway. Come on to the back and I will get you coffee and we can sit in front of my fire and talk like we did last time you were here.
The weatherman says tomorrow is going to be nice and sunny with a high of 50. That sounds like a mild winter day to me. Perfect for our little indoor music festival tomorrow at the Green Swamp Community Center. Also, remember the silent auction tomorrow at Mama Night Owl's Oddities and Curiosity shop. All proceeds of the silent auction benefit Gloaming Falls Animal Shelter. I need to remind everyone that the tourist season will be in full swing come April, and so Gloaming Falls' first town hall is scheduled for January 20th to discuss updated plans for any accidents that may happen in the national park. Lots of tourists means lots of people in town, and we just want to keep everyone safe. The National Parks website states that we only had 8 people go missing last year in our very own national park. Thankfully, all came home safe and sound, but let's all work together to make this year's warmer months safe for everyone. Coming up next, we have music from Bigfoot Prisoner and Big Ticket Goblins.
Now that we are comfy, tell me about yourself. We didn't get much time to talk last time you were here. Where are you trying to move from? New York City? Well, that really is a move for such a large city into this small town. Nice and quiet. You really believe that after last night? Well, just give it a while if you think this is a quiet place. It is quiet on the surface, but underneath it's noisier than your New York. I promise you that. Just give it time. You aren't having any second thoughts about being a police officer here after your encounter with our local ghost story, are you? Uh-huh. That's what I thought. I see it. I was worried about it, and now I see it. You have the look. You have the look of someone who was curious. I was scared that's what seeing that ghost road, or whatever it really is, would do. Let me guess. You went back to that spot where you wrecked your car and looked for Red Oak Road. What you found was no road sign where it had been before, and an overgrown, barely visible road where you had seen asphalt as clear as day before. Is that about right? Yeah, that's what I thought. And knowing what you saw was something strange you can't explain makes you just so curious you can't stand it. I know. I've seen it before. You are the first person to see something they can't explain in this place. But I want to tell you something, and it's not the curiosity killed the cat, although that is something to keep in mind. No, what I want to say about Glowing Falls is that it is okay to be curious about this town and all the land around it, so long as you also respect it. Like I said before, this town is watched and judged by ground, sky, and things in between. The truth is always being twisted. Let's take your little spirit from last night. She died, and people keep saying they could see her. Sounds like a ghost, am I right? The same type of stories you always hear about spirits. Then they burned the tree where they found her body, and now they see her on the road looking into the woods like she is hunting for something. Soon the boy who killed her is found dead in those woods, shoved in a tree just like her. Sounds like a vengeful spirit, right? Like other ghost stories you've heard? But now, time has passed. And you tell me what in the world that spirit is hanging on for. The road is gone, the tree is gone, the boy who killed her is gone, and supposedly with most vengeful spirits, that should be the end of it. A ghost wanting revenge should have gotten it when that boy died, and should be able to go on in peace, right? But listen to me, child. Nothing in this place is ever clear. The road and sometimes something that looks like that dead girl will appear. Now believe me, I know. I hear about it. The stories pop up ever so often, and out-of-towners or tourists and visitors are always the victims. Now, a curious person like yourself might go out there with your Ouija boards and your seances and your spirit box and try to communicate with the spirit. Am I right? I know. I've seen that look before. But again, nothing is ever clear. What if I told you there's more to the story? What if I told you that messing with the thing wandering around on Red Oak Road is dangerous? It's dangerous because that isn't just a spirit that is calling to strangers trying to make some kind of revenge. No, something very different is happening. See, the stories would be told over the years. Not often, but it would happen about every 15 years or so. A tourist usually would disappear for a day or two. They would show back up almost dead, in the shape of someone who had been lost for weeks in the woods, not just a few days. It's always got said that they went hiking and got lost, by a miracle was found wandering the road into town. The truth is, they usually weren't hiking to begin with, but maybe just walking, broke down, or in your case, wrecked near Red Oak Road. These people, however, will always say that before they got lost, they saw the road sign, and sometimes a girl motioning for them to walk over toward her near the woods. When they are found, however, it isn't hard to show them a grown-over road and get them to think that they dreamed seeing the girl and the road up. No. What always happens is, in the end, these people say they went for a walk or just got lost. I know all this because I have seen it all for myself several times, and I was like you at first. I also was thinking it was a vengeful spirit that I might could help move on. That was until the last boy. No. The details of what happened to him makes me think it's something else. You see, the kids in Gloman Falls have always liked to spend time with me here in the shop. I always enjoy them and they keep me young. We share stories and they show me how to do things on the internet. I'm too old to pass judgment on the teenagers. They have always had a safe place here. I usually have food here, and strange things I collect in the shop usually keeps them guessing. One of the boys who spent lots of free time here with me was able to go away to college. He came back one summer with his friend named Quentin. I was proud to be one of the boy's first stops, and when he came home, the local boy was happy to show his new friend the shop. The plan was for them to go hiking and camping for a while in the national park while they were visiting here. It was about 3 days after they came to town that Quentin said he just wanted to stretch his legs and go for a walk. He left the local boy's house and began walking down the main road out of town. After a few hours passed, the local boy and his family started to get worried about his friend. The local boy sent a text message to his friend Quentin, and when his friend replied, he said that he thinks he is heading back into town and just got turned around when he turned down Red Oak Road. The same ghost road you saw, he now says he turned down and was now a little lost. The local boy and his family got into their car and headed toward where Red Oak Road used to be. It was the next morning when the local boy showed up in my shop, and by then there was a full-fledged search party looking for this poor Quentin boy all through the woods near Red Oak Road. None of the local boys' calls or anyone else's calls were getting through to Quentin's cell phone. However, sporadically, the local boy was getting texts from Quentin, and they weren't making any sense. I even got my old bones out there calling for that child, Quentin, but with every text that Quentin sent to his friend, I was losing hope we would ever see him alive again, and I also stopped thinking it was a vengeful ghost messing around near Red Oak Road. 3 days after he was lost, someone found Quentin lying on the remains of the Whitmore family's porch. So I want you to think about that for a minute. The dead girl's house was burnt down, and now a boy, who would later claim to have seen her, is found half dead lying on her burnt-up front porch. That poor boy had looked like pictures you see of starving people or survivors in those terrible camps in World War II. He was pale with sunken eyes, and his once strong arms and legs now looked like sticks. There is no way only 3 days lost in the woods would account for that. The boy had blood loss and anemia, but with no marks on his body that would cause for the boy to have lost so much blood. He had lost muscle mass and his teeth had become loose. It was like he had been kept in a cage for months, starved and unable to move. And all that happened in just 3 days in those woods. Now, the boy Quentin ended up staying in the hospital for almost 3 weeks. His family was highly upset and just wanted the whole thing behind him once he was able to leave. I, of course, kind of put myself in the middle of them and was able to get a hold of the boy Quentin's cell phone after showing interest in his text messages. It was a cheap little thing, and his parents just handed it over once I mentioned it because they just really wanted the whole thing to be done with. I wanted to know what his messages actually said, especially since the police were ignoring the fact that some of Quentin's texts had come through to the local boy and they were saying strange things. I have a printed out copy of the texts. I keep them in a safe place. And I have kept them here on me since last night, waiting to see if you would show back up. If I read them to you, maybe you will see why I say that you aren't dealing with just a normal spirit out there in the woods. Okay, here they are. And some of these texts came through to the local boy and some didn't, and I didn't read them all until I saw the boy's phone. Now, first, the local boy asked Quentin where he was since he had been gone for a few hours once he left his house. Quentin responded. He said, I was on my way back into town and I saw this girl who looked like she was looking for something in the woods. I went to ask if I could help her, but she just walked into the woods and motioned for me to come with her. She kind of moved fast and I knew it was dumb, but I followed her. Now I think I'm lost and she is gone. The road sign said Red Oak Road, where I turned, so I shouldn't be far from there. Then Quentin said, I only have one bar and I can't get a call out. The girl is just gone and I'm starting to get worried. Are you calling me? My phone is hardly sending anything out. It's getting dark. My phone is at 50%. Now, there were no more texts until 6:45 a.m. the next morning. Quentin said, the girl is back and I'm following her, but she keeps staying too far ahead. I keep trying to call you. The girl is gone. I slept, but it was very cold. It was hot yesterday. He then said, I'm starving and have a terrible headache. I almost feel like I'm too weak to keep moving, but that doesn't make sense. What's wrong with me? Then he said, I'm moving again. I'm following a little stream. Does that help you find me? Now, the next text message wasn't sent until 4 a.m. the next day. The girl came to visit me. She came out from behind a tree. I wasn't real surprised to see her. I walked up to her and she hugged me. I fell asleep. I woke up a little while ago. I can hardly stand up right now. I'm just going to sleep here on the ground and hope she finds me again. I'll remember to ask her how to get out of the woods then. Then he texted, my phone rang. I tried to answer. It was all static. And then, I can't get a call out now, but can you try to call me? Then he said, are you getting my texts? Call me. My phone is at 30% and I don't want to, but I have to turn it off. It's dark and I can't see anything anymore. The stream is on my left. I don't know if that helps you find me. The text started again at 6:30 a.m. the next day. He said, I am too tired to move. The sun is up, but I just can't get up. I didn't ask the girl how to get out of the woods. When she lay down with me last night and hugged me, I just forgot. I was just happy to have someone with me. I'm going to stay where I am. I just can't keep moving. Then he said, I keep hearing people in the woods, people talking and calling my name. I think I'm going crazy. I heard you yelling my name like you were right beside me. I know it was you, not just because of your voice, but because you called me Q. No one but you calls me Q. My phone's at 8%. I'm going to turn it off again for a while. Then he said, I just want you to know I love you, and I might not see you again. I keep calling you, but you can't hear me. Why can't you hear me? You sound like you are beside me. I'm turning the phone off. I see the girl over there. She is coming to give me another hug, and I want her to hug me. Then he said, I'm at 2%. I'm just going to crawl as far as I can until she comes back. I'm just so tired, but I promise to keep trying to get out. And his last text said, I love you. Now you know what that boy saw there in those woods and what it did to him. That thing tried to do to you what it did to that boy and others like him. That thing is an example of why it is okay to be curious in Gloaming Falls, but don't go playing with things you don't understand. You need to always be respectful of this place. A spirit might can change an overgrown road into looking like what it did when it was alive, and if it's angry enough, take revenge by harming the person who harmed it. But this isn't no spirit. The proof is in what the boy said and how this thing would come and hug him, causing him to be more and more weak and sick. How it toyed with him, making him walk deeper and deeper in the woods. It then just deposited the boy on the ruins of the Whitmore house, the same house where the girl this entity is impersonating lived. That thing was just toying with all of us at that point. No. That's more than any vengeful spirit would do. That shows smarts and strategy. That shows a thing with feet and thoughts tied more solidly to this earthly place than any spirit ever could be at any time. Now I want you to do something for me. Look over there in that silver box on the mantel. There you go. Open it up and pull out that little piece of paper. You see that picture drawn on there and those funny little squiggles that looks like writing? That piece of paper was given to me by a woman who found it stuck in an old book in a house right here in Gloaming Falls. That horrid picture of that thing wrapping its arms around that little boy, I was able to get it copied, and I sent it off to a man who knows about these things. He says that page you hold in your hand came from a very old book that has been torn apart and only parts have been found of the original. He said that writing tells you that the woman-looking thing with skin under its arms like a flying squirrel and wrapping its arms around that poor tiny baby is one kind of creature that will feed on people. It will take the shape of a person and then toy with you. And then, when it's ready, will hug you and steal all your nutrients until you are nothing but dried skin and bone. That thing in that picture is what I think is walking up and down Red Oak Road. That thing can not only make itself look like the dead Whitmore girl, but also, through some other trickery, fool you into thinking you are where you aren't. Making an old road look like a new one, and the woods close to your home look like woods 1,000 miles away from anywhere. You think you've seen a ghost out there on old Red Oak Road and want to be all curious and playing with it? Well, let me tell you what. You will regret your curiosity. You saw something and you stick around in Gloaming Falls and you will see more, I promise you that. But respect what you see and be wary of it. But don't you dare go playing with it. You see, child, I think you are meant to be in this town for some reason. And I think you are meant to come in my shop to hear my warnings. Now you go on ahead to your job interview tomorrow, but please rethink being curious. Like I said, no one ends up in my shop unless you are supposed to be here. It's possible you were sent to Gloaming Falls to do some good, and, well, I'm older than you will think possible. I could use a young person to help me keep the darker side of Gloaming Falls from taking over. I want to teach someone its history and how to see its patterns and know when to watch for danger. So, you go ahead Do as you wish, and if you want to be silly, then go ahead and play with that thing out there in the woods. But I'm making you an offer. You listen to me, and I will show you more than just whatever is hanging around on Red Oak Road. I will show you things not everyone will get to see in a lifetime. What do you say? You want a chance to be a part of something strange and see things you can never dream? Oh, you just made me a happy lady. You go to your interview, and I have a feeling you will get the job. Then your real job, or at least your other job, can start with me.
It's been a long night playing music for you guys, but it has been nice to have the moon keeping me company here in the radio station. It's January and a little chilly out there right now, but when summer hits, it is a night like this, camping out in the national park under the stars and the full moon with nothing but trees around, that will be just what the doctor ordered. With thoughts of warm nights and moonlit trees in my head, I say goodnight, Gloaming Falls. I'll be back tomorrow night with more music for you.
This was the Mama Night Owl Oddities and Curiosities Shop podcast. Music from the show can be found at farpointband.com. The show was produced by Kevin Jarvis and narrated by Summer Jarvis. If you have a story that you think belongs on Mama Night Owl or music you want featured on the show, you can send an email to mamanightowlpodcast@gmail.com. If you like the show, the best way you can support it is to give us a 5-star rating. We hope to meet you again in Gloaming Falls.